And that's going to mark the Hilula of a really, really great rabbi, one of the great rabbis, let's just say, from especially the 16th century and right at the start of the 17th century. And the rabbi, I believe, we've mentioned about on various occasions before. His name was Rabbi Moshe Alshich Z'tl. Now, it's reported that he was born around the year 1506, 1507. He passed away in 1600, right at the start of the 17th century. He was a great author, was very, very famous with regards to the Torah sphere itself. He was Shluchei D'Rabbanan, a rabbinic emissary, traveling various different areas. He was a posek, a rabbi that would render different halachic laws in Tzfat, respectively, and he was a talmid of various different great rabbis, including the famous Rabbi Yosef Karo and Rabbi Chaim Vital, and other great rabbis who we've mentioned about on various occasions before. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the really great rabbi's life, because there's so much we can actually related. Well, he was actually a rabbi of Chaim Vital, I believe, just to correct myself, and it was a talmid of Rabbi Yosef Karo. So it's actually very interesting. Came from great rabbinic auspices, as we've spoken about, many like many of the great rabbis in of itself. And what's interesting is he was born, I think, his father's name was Chaim, in Adrian Pol. I think that was a location where he was actually born, in Ottoman city at that point in time. Adrian Pol, let's just say now, is part of the city in Turkey, respectively, over there. Was a son of Chaim Alshich, and he would study in Saloniki, modern day Greece, under let's just say there was a really great rabbi, Rabbi Yosef Tetazak, a really great rabbi. Also, Rabbi Yosef Karo was his rabbi. He happened to end up becoming the author of the Code of Jewish Law, the Shulchan Aruch, respectively. Yosef Karo would actually travel to Tzfat, which we're going to speak about in a few minutes in of itself. Would go to there. Just like that, I believe in the year 1535, Rabbi Moshe Alshich will also go to Eretz Israel and would settle in Tzfat, just like I think Rabbi Karo would, so too he would. And very, very much he was an outstanding, let's just say, rabbinic, let's just say, Torah decider in of itself, a posek halacha in of itself. Come at the year 1536, I think Rabbi Yosef Karo would actually come to Tzfat, and various different great rabbis were there. And Rabbi Moshe Alshich will have, let's just say, the most famous teachers at that point in time across the whole world, respectively. Remember, Tzfat at that stage in time was an epicenter of huge amounts of Torah in of itself. And many, many teshuvot will come through these different great chachamim of that specific day. It's actually interesting. He would actually become the teacher of various different great, outstanding students in the next generation. Rav Chaim ben Yosef Vital, a rabbi that will become also talmid, I believe, of the Ari HaKadosh, very great rabbi. I think he himself passed away in the year 1620. And Rabbi Yom Tov Salhon, very great rabbi, also popularly known as the Ma'aritz. He would be his talmid. He was very, very great rabbi. He himself, I believe, passed away in the year 1638 in Tzfat, Rav Zahalon, and very much was, let's just say, he or himself was a talmid of Rabbi Moshe Z'tl, another great rabbi who we've mentioned about on various occasions before from Tzfat. So you can see just the caliber of the great rabbis of that specific time in of itself. Okay, he belonged to this great grandiose circle of great Kabbalists of yesteryear who would live in the city of Tzfat, and traces, let's just say, the Kabbalah itself. He's celebrated as a teacher, let's just say a preacher, and a great rabbi. Within regards to his life, it's reported that not much is actually known within regards to it, but in his works, it's reported that he would avoid mentioning himself, I believe, to a great degree, telling only of his course of study. He'll talk more about the study. In his preface to his commentary on, let's just say, the Torah, he says, I'm quoting what's said in English over here according to this source, using the Wikipedia source, "I never aimed at things too high or beyond me. From my earliest days, the study of Gemara, Talmud, was my main occupation, and attended yeshiva where I made myself familiar with discussions of the great rabbis Abaya and the great rabbi Rabbah. The night I devoted to research, and the day to halacha, Jewish law. In the morning I read the Talmud, and in the afternoon the poskim, the rabbinic legal decision makers Only on Fridays, this Erev Shabbat, could I find the time for reading, let's just say, scripture and various different midrashim. In preparation, obviously, he would give lectures on the weekly Torah portion, on the Shabbat, respectively, which would be delivered on Shabbat. And I think it was large audiences that were very eager to listen to his great introduction. He would travel various different countries, including Syria, Turkey, and Iran, Persia in those days. And it was reported. It's actually interesting that there was a legend actually reported over, I'm not sure where the source is, that his son was taken as a child. There was a lot of anti-Semitism in those days, so they captured him and tried to make him a Muslim. And the famous Arizal authored a special tefillah, a prayer, for his son to return, let's just say, to the Jewish way of life. Now, it's reported over he either passed away in the year, Rabbi Moshe Alshich, according to one source, it was in 1593. According to somewhere else, it says he passed away in the year 1600 on Yud Gimel Nisan. But please, if someone can confirm that, that would be great to know. Only a few rabbis were granted the title Hakadosh throughout Jewish history. Alongside Alshich Hakadosh were the Shlah Hakadosh, another great rabbi. Very interesting enough, Rav Yeshayahu ben Abraham Halevi Horowitz, and the Arya Kadosh and the Ora Chaim Kadosh. And also there's obviously many people who call the Rashash Rav Shalom Shrabi Rashash Kadosh. There's various reasons, as to say, why he had the name Kadosh as a title. Very interesting enough, I'll research that. Now, he left great Torah works in of itself. Let's explore some of the names of the great books he left, including Torat Moshe, which was a Perush and the Darash on the Torah in of itself. Very, very great. And then there was a Mera'ot Hatzovot, I think Drashot on the Sefer of Nevi'im, respectively. Devarim Tovim on Kohelet. Devarim Nichomim, which was on Eika, the Lamentations book. Masa'at Moshe, which was on Megillat Esther. The Shoshanat HaAmakim, which was on Shir Hashirim, the Song of Songs. The Chavatzelet HaSharon, which was on the book of Daniel. The Chelkat Mechokak, which was on the book of Eov. The Romot El, which is on the book of Tehillim. The Einei Moshe, which is a Perush on Megillat Ruth, the Ruth, and Rav and other things. Rav Pninim, which was a book on Proverbs, Mishlei, respectively. Then there was Shelut Shuvot Maharam Alshich, which I think was printed in Jerusalem, the Tafshin Chaf, if I'm not mistaken. I think Rav Ezra Batzri, who would be an Avbet Din of Jerusalem, will maybe reprint it or have a book connected to it in the Tafshin Ayin Aleph. Then the Yarim Moshe, which is a Perush on Pirkei Avot, on the ethics of the fathers. I think there was also a Perush on the Haggadah of Passover, which is printed in Venice, I believe in the year 1601, which would have been after he passed away, I believe. So please don't forget to light candles in his memory. It's here on Yud Gimel Sivan. Reported over he passed away in Tzfat. Very, very great rabbi of his time. And I think he was buried in the Beit Almin Ha'atik B'Tzfat, respectively. Over there, he was a great rabbi that dealt with many, many things. He was a Talmid of Rav Yosef Karo. He was a rabbi of Rav Chaim Vital. And he lived in a generation of the Ari HaKadosh, the great rabbi. Rabbi Ari Luria Ashkenazi, another great rabbi we've mentioned about before. Actually, the Ari HaKadosh passed away in 1572. That would have been about around 28 years before he passed away. According to another opinion, if he passed away in around 1593, it would have been just over 20 years afterwards. So please don't forget to light candles in memory. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you're related to any of the great Chachamim we are speaking about, please send me an email. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. And if you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos to those people respectively. Wishing you a Chag Sameach. Recording this just before the festival of Passover here in the city of Ramat Gan, and wishing you well, and watch over the previous videos. Take care and Chag Sameach.